Welcome to Bible Study with Fred. I'm going to read from Ephesians chapter 3, verses 3 and 4, and make some brief comments. So follow along with me if you can. How that by revelation you made known unto me the mystery, as I wrote afore in few words, whereby when you read you may understand my knowledge in the mystery of Christ. Now Romans 16:25 says, Now to him that is of power to establish you according to my gospel and the preaching of Jesus Christ, according to the revelation of the mystery, which was kept secret since the world began, but now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of their everlasting God, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith. You can go back to Acts 9 and see how Christ began to reveal his mystery to Paul. Galatians 1:12, For I neither received it of man, neither was I taught it, but by the revelation of Jesus Christ. God gives a revelation of himself. Revelation 1:1. The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John. This is why it's impossible to prove God's existence by so-called scientific methods of creating an experiment where God is required to show up and prove himself. Outside of the obvious proof of his existence in nature, as in the probability of life happening by chance on Earth, or in a stellar cloud, or mathematically an impossibility, see Francis Crick's Life Itself or the work of astronomer Fred Hoyle on the subject of abiogenesis, or just how clearly we can see his fingerprint in the order of the universe. God is a person, an entity who can choose to reveal himself as he will or not. There's no question that God's reveal of himself to mankind is at his discretion. The thing man has to understand is whether or not a supposed revelation of God, say in the Quran, is the same God as the God of the Bible, or if the God of the American right wing or left wing politics is the same God as the God of the Bible. God reveals himself today through his words in his Bible. You can't trust your conscience, your feelings, or your opinions. If you hear anyone say that God or even Jesus Christ appeared to them, he or she is lying. If they tell you they had a two-way conversation in their garden this morning, whether they insist he walked with them and talked with them, and his voice was like James Earl Jones or Alexander Scourby, they are deluded or they're lying. People will try to draw others to themselves, to form a cult, a following, and use this very tactic in order to justify themselves. I don't care what you think God has laid on your heart. Every Christian has access to God's revelation of himself through the words in his Bible, by which God speaks to your understanding and to your heart. But before the Bible was complete, Paul and the apostles and prophets received a direct revelation from God. God spoke to them audibly and sometimes in person. As Paul said to his shipmates in Acts 27:23, For there stood by me this night the angel of God, whose I am and whom I serve. As Moses wrote, Exodus 33:11, And the Lord spake unto Moses face to face, as a man speaketh unto his friend. There are no new revelations of God after the Bible was given in its entirety. The first complete Bible was available in the middle of the 2nd century, right around the death of the generation that was taught by the last apostle living, John. It was called the Old Latin Bible, and there may have been a Greek Vulgate that preceded it. There have been advanced understandings of the Bible as God gave men wisdom who desired to know him, but nothing they came up with was not found in the Bible already, or it was a fraud and a deceit. Modern Bible versions giving primacy to the spurious manuscripts of Codex Vaticanus and Codex Sinaiticus, and using the inferior and dangerous translation method of dynamic equivalence, not literal, do not give us a complete revelation of God, but a humanistic interpretation of some old Greek and Hebrew manuscripts. As their own scholars admit, the two aforementioned manuscripts are the primary source of evidence for the renderings they produce, and their lack of concern for a literal rendering of the Bible verses and passages destroys all cross-references in the Bible's self-defining properties, its built-in dictionary for words and phrases. Perhaps the modern Bible translators didn't know about those qualities of the King James Bible, just like some say that the New King James Bible translators didn't know that their title for Jesus in Matthew 11:3 of the coming one was a New Age satanic doctrine espoused by the witch Alice Bailey. But I sort of doubt it. It appears that for the sake of a mistaken methodology of translating, they destroyed the cross-references of the Bible, and while making verses mean something a modern person could easily understand, they made them mean something other than what God intended. Read the revelation of God, of Jesus Christ, to man in the King James Bible, also known as the King James Version or the Authorized Version, cross-referencing verses, words, and phrases to see how they are used and what they mean, or pick up a more modern version for its so-called ease of reading and miss the beauty, the poetry, the majesty, and the truth of God's pure and perfect word. We'll stop there and we'll pick it up in verse 5 next time. Please read your Bible, study your Bible, cross-reference the verses, and then share your interpretation with someone else. Thank you.